6 years ago, my wife, let's call her Jen, and I were on a crazy house hunting spree to rent. We had a very tight budget and a long list of things we needed in a place. Just when we were about to give up hope, my agent dropped us a bombshell. She told us that there's an old empty house up for rent. Newly painted and renovated too. So, with a mix of curiosity and desperation the night itself, we went to check it out. But as soon as we stepped inside that place, we felt a chill down our spines and goosebumps all over. It is just a very ordinary double-story terrace house, and it had a very weird, eerie feeling about it. We also couldn't quite put our finger on why we felt that way. But the next morning, despite all the weird vibes, we found ourselves going back to the house again. It gave the same eerie feeling, and we feel like we've been watched. Jen warned me in advance and told me not to rent this unit. But despite all of this, after weighing our options with time running out and also out of extreme desperation, we decided to take the leap and rent the place. Hey, it fits our budget, and there were a bunch of cool shops and stuff nearby. That convenience was hard to pass up. By the way, not forgetting that, we're also actually the first tenants to have rented this old house after a long time being unoccupied. Once we moved in, we intended to turn it into our own little paradise. We went on a shopping spree for lights and kitchen stuff, giving it our personal touch. It was exciting to think about all the memories we'd make in-house, but boy, am I in for a huge mistake. As we settled in, the house seemed to come alive with its own stories. Firstly, definitely no good sleep for all the time we've been there. The creepiness of being watched are so constant that we got used to it. Our six senses are tingling most of the time, hairs standing on ends, prickly sensations on our skins, and so on. Occasionally, in the middle of night, as Jen and I lay on the bed, a sudden and jarring sound pierced the silence, like a loud and sharp sneeze right beside her ear. We both jolted awake, hearts pounding, but there was nothing to explain the strange disturbance. Checked the room, no one else was in the room, and all the windows were securely shut. Not forgetting to mention that we also had a puppy, and without fail, the puppy would always whine and whimper at the direction of the stairs every night. Another common thing is during 12 a.m. every night, we would definitely be hearing footsteps going up and down the stairs, and as soon as I went out of our bedroom and check. No footstep, nothing. Couldn't see anyone or anything. This strange occurrence happens every single night. Kettles whistling without plugging in the plug into the electrical socket. You imagine, all these supernatural thingy left us puzzled and scared, but the most unsettling, scariest part of all is that Jen felt someone stroked her head while she was sleeping that gave her an ultimate chilling sensation that made her wake up in a cold sweat. Yet there was no one there either, besides me snoring away. Happened a few times. We tried finding explanations, but nothing made sense. We've also talked to experts and friends to help solving this issue, but the weird stuff kept happening anyways. The funny thing is, both our neighbors aren't around always. Otherwise we could be questioning them or whatnot. We didn't know what to do or why it was happening. Let me now then share both our personal experience that we had. Showering time to me felt like one of the worst. I will often hear a woman singing, imitating Jen's voice without fail. Startled at first, I tried investigating, only to find her chilling on the bed a few feet away from the bathroom or either in the kitchen downstairs cooking, denying that she was the culprit. It happened so frequently until I no longer asked Jen about it. We both kept it to ourselves by then. Speaking of which, there was once a giant-size Hello Kitty sticker that Jen had pasted on the shower glass windows for decoration. One fine day, as I was showering, it just literally smiled at me. Those who know what a Hello Kitty looks like will understand. You know the hand-drawn eyes or mouth from Expressionless, to a smiley expression in cartoons and whatnot? Yeah, it turned upside down to a sort of smiley expression towards me. Got totally freaked out by it, and tore it down to dispose of it immediately. Now for Jen, she's an avid baker and a cook. During her time cooking, while chopping up vegetables, the water tap would turn on by itself, even without the faucet of the tap moving. She would be needing to turn up and down manually to close it. Mind you, I checked the pressure of the water, the rubber, washer, and everything within the faucet or tap. No damages, leaking. Just nothing. Digital weighing machine kept increasing in weight while she's putting on her baking ingredients for measurement. She'd even changed the battery and even replacing it with new ones. The same peculiar phenomenon happened. Every other day, ceramic bowls and cups would be falling off the tabletop and breaking by themselves for no reason. Tried placing them in the cupboards, but they flung itself out of it, causing a big mess. After this, everything we used are plastics. There was also an incident when during Jen was baking some cookies, she felt soft breathing down the back of her neck, and when she quickly turned around, she saw a dark shadow looming over her. She screamed for me and I came down rushing to accompany her to finish her tasks after. There's also another disturbing incident that Jen couldn't forget. One weekend, my niece, let's call her Leanne, of 12, came over and spent a night in our house. Jen had already prepared the guest room upstairs for her. After Leanne arrived, Jen then guided her to the room upstairs. But the moment Leanne entered the room, she felt very uncomfortable and uneasy. Immediately, she requested to sleep in the living hall downstairs. Jen then asked her what had happened. Leanne refused to answer. So there and then, Jen decided to accompany her downstairs that night. They both slept on the sofa, adjacent to one another in the living hall. Talking and after singing her to sleep, Jen then started to make herself comfortable. While she was lying on the sofa, a terrible feeling of being watched jolted her up. Cold wind then began to blow towards her face, and she felt a very chilling sensation throughout her body. Suddenly she heard a very loud knocking sound on the window coming from the entrance of the living hall, followed by the banging on the toilet door, which is just beside kitchen near her. Jen then immediately checked on Leanne. Luckily, she was still sound asleep. In the meantime, Jen also managed to take a peek at the wall clock. It was 12:30 a.m. Feeling very stressed out and trembling throughout the whole ordeal, she decided to hide herself under the cover of the blankets and started praying profusely. The sounds of knocking and banging ensued, while the chilling wind blew around the room. When all the disturbances stopped, Jay noticed that was already 2 a.m. She then tried forcing herself to sleep. I came back and reached home from my working shift at about 6 a.m. that early morning itself. Once I've opened the front door, Jen immediately came running towards me and giving me a big fuss about it. Leanne then told us that she saw a woman in red smiling creepily at her on the guest bed before. After relating the whole ordeal to me, that is then where I decided we should move out as soon as possible. Finally, even though we were so freaked out, we stuck together and found comfort in each other. We had just only stayed for 3 months more or less. We then started packing our stuffs the following day, and also this time we made sure to thoroughly take our time to hunt down and research before renting a new place for us to live in. I also learnt the lesson to never be hasty in any decision-making no more. By the way, talking about coincidence, as we were packing our belongings the next day and out of nowhere, one of the neighbors decided to just appear right in front of our main gate. After sensing what we're doing, he just helped himself into our house and came right at me. I was taken aback by his actions, and I went straight to him. As soon as I wanted to confront him, he stopped me in the tracks and said, "You have made the best decision ever." Calming and composing myself, "Why?" I asked curiously. "The tenant before you guys took away her own life. It's due to her problem with anxiety and hallucinations. Family problems, I guess. Also a druggie, I suppose." From there and then both Jen and I finally understood why this is all happening. Lastly, the picture you guys are currently viewing is the actual haunted house, and it was intentionally blurred. It was taken right after we finished packing and were about to leave. Saw the two floating, shape-like objects in the image? They somewhat resemble a smiling head. Well, they definitely looked happy after we left, I guess. Hey friends, thanks for listening. Look forward, subscribe, and click on the notification bell for more future stories. Peace.